What's up? In today's video, we're gonna install some coilovers. Got this Tein racing damper Spec R, which is originally designed for the 86 and BRZ Cup. Now let's put this thing on jack stands. So as mentioned in the title of this video, I'm gonna show you how to replace these coilovers on your own without calling your dad, mom, or your sister, your girlfriend. So since everyone is having a hard time on the rear, so I'm gonna show you how it's done on the rear first. Just a quick reminder, when you lower the rear, the car tends to go front, so you might want to adjust those jack stands way further front. Now that the car is up and the wheels are removed, we're going to be removing the nuts of these 4 bolts on the lower control arms. So remove the nut but leave the bolts. Now after removing the nuts, we can now remove the bolt of the sway bar link and the outermost bolt of the lower control arm. Now we will be leaving this one on, and I'll show you why. Here's a hint though. So now we move to the trunk and remove the trunk mat and the upholstery on the sides to gain access to the top hats of the rear coilovers. So now that we have access to the top hat nuts, we're gonna be loosening these two. So just loosen it, don't remove them yet. Now we'll be jacking up the lower control arm to give the shock strut a little push. And now we remove the nuts. And now we slowly lower the jack while holding the shock strut. And there you have it. Now we simply remove the bolt on the lower control arm. And that's how we remove the coilover. So now we are going to adjust the coilovers on the height we want it to be. So looking at the manual for this type of coilover, it says that the distance of the seat lock and the bracket lock should be around 17mm or 0.7 inches. But you can also try out and see for yourself. Also, if your preload is not yet adjusted on your coilovers, you can check out some videos online on how to adjust them. Now we install the coilovers onto the lower control arms. Just slide in the bolt from the side. And now we lift up the jack until the lower control arm reaches the knuckles and meet the bolt holes. When the holes meet, we install the bolt and install the nut. Now just hand tighten it and we'll torque it later. After that, continue jacking up until the top hot nuts goes through the holes on top. And just like that, now you can install the nuts on the top hat without calling your dad, friend, girlfriend, mom, anyone, just by yourself. And you're welcome. Now we can torque tighten the seat lock and the bracket lock on the coilovers. And now we move under the car and install all the bolts and nuts on the lower controller. Now after installing the bolts and the nuts, always check for the spec sheets for the torque of each bolt and nuts. And now that the rear is done, let's move on to the front of the car. Now first step in the front, let's pry out these two clips holding the speed sensor harness. After removing it, remember that this wire is routed underneath. After that, remove the brake line bracket. After that, move on to the bolt and nuts that are connected to the knuckles. Now, as you can see, this is very hard, so I had to put an extension on one of my wrench. After removing the nuts, also remove the nut on the sway bar link. And after doing the bottom, we move on to the top hats and loosen the nuts. After loosening them, remove 2 nuts and leave the one that is close to the outer side. And now we can remove the 2 bolts on the knuckles. And we remove the remaining nut on the top hat while lifting up the shock strut. And just like what we did in the rear, we're gonna be adjusting the seat lock and the bracket lock on the front coilovers as well. And basically putting it back on is just the other way around. Take one nut and put the coilover to the top hat holes and install one nut that is close to your side. As you can see here, I'm using a jack to lift up the knuckles so I won't have a hard time aligning it with the lower part coilover. As you can see, it's easier for me to align the holes and simply find the right place for me to get the bolt through. And now simply put back all the hardware of this area, the nuts on these bolts, the brake bracket, and the spin monitor sensor harness. After the bolt has been hand tight, now we torque them up according to their specs. And there it is, 2 fingers on the front, which was 3 before, and also around 2 fingers in the back. So I wasn't content with the results, so I lifted the car and adjusted them again. So after doing some adjustments, I managed to adjust the front to a 1.5 finger of the fender line and tire gap, and also a tight 2 fingers on the back. So here's a picture of the before and the after. Now looking at the car like this, I think I really need some wheels with some wider offsets. And lastly, these coilovers were equipped with a damp force adjustment. Now looking at the manual, Tein's recommended value is to turn it back 6 clicks from the stiffest settings, front and rear. So I've been adjusting this for days now and I'm still changing them from time to time. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Please support the channel by liking, subscribing, also giving us a comment on our negative things on these videos. And also we'll be having some giveaways, so stay tuned by subscribing and learn more on the next few videos. See you on the next one.